You have to truly believe in the magic.
Hey Magic fans, and welcome to Penny for Your Thoughts, the podcast of the Orlando Magic UK, episode number 84, Thursday, the 9th of June, 2022. And as always, I am joined by Mikey and Geraint. G, how you doing, mate? Good holiday?
Yeah, superb holiday. Thank you, mate. Appreciative of the Queen giving us an extra bank holiday. I was able to avoid the festivities being in Spain, so that was quite nice. And of course, I've had a lovely result with the football or the soccer, as our friends over in the States.
I was just about to ask you because you got off the plane and went straight to the Cardiff City Stadium to witness history, mate. Wales actually making a World Cup.
First time in 64 years. So we'll be joining.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
And Dante, so you get the opportunity to beat Wales in their first World Cup.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I can't wait till the Queen's next Jubilee. I think that's going to be even more special. That's going to be amazing. This is incredible. We watched that the entire weekend. But I guess if you live there, it's a good time to get away from it. A lot of people coming to visit.
Oh, man. London was rammed. Apparently, London was rammed. Mikey, how's you, mate?
I'm doing well, mate. I'm doing well. 2 weeks from the NBA draft, so we're all excited. I'm looking forward to Dante telling JT and everybody just to calm down, like he did last year.
Stop freaking out, everybody! Stop freaking out. That's right.
We got that to look forward to. Absolutely.
Did you guys say episode 84? That's
84
unbelievable.
now.
Episode 84. Congratulations, guys. That's outstanding.
It's incredible that. Mate, it's incredible people actually want to listen to us.
I love it. That's
the drivel we talk and people still listen. It's amazing.
We went to the draft lottery night at Harry Buffalo here in Orlando, and there was about 200 Magic fans there, but I met a couple of Magic fans that I talked to specifically that said they enjoyed the podcast. It was great. It was great. You guys were sound asleep, and we were talking about the Orlando Magic UK podcast.
They were obviously drunk then, weren't they? So
let me say,
loaded.
one of us was sound asleep. Two were up watching it, weren't you guys?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's got to be done.
Yeah, one of us was sound asleep, though. I'm not going to lie. So, as you gathered, we are joined by our really good friend and Magic pre-game host, sideline reporter for Bally Sports Florida, the one and only Dante Marcutelli. Dante, how you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing great, guys. It's always good to see you guys. Always good to see. I'm not going to lie to you. 2 weeks away from the draft, those smiles seem a lot bigger right now than they did this time last year. Right? We were hoping to get in the top three last year. We got a great player in Jalen Suggs, but boy, it hits a little different when you control the draft, doesn't it? With the number one pick.
Oh man, it's the interest in the team has really taken off since landing that number one pick. We were talking with other friends who run different pods, and also with Philip Rossman Wright last week.
Yes, right.
And we were all saying how the numbers on whatever we're doing is increasing, and it's all because of that renewed interest in the team. Incredible. That's right. Incredible.
That's exactly right. I mean, I think you think about instantly relevant, right? Because no matter who you take with the number one pick, there's going to be so much interest. We already see it with Markelle Fultz now, still 5 years after the fact. There's so much interest and intrigue with that number one overall pick, and for good reason. So no matter which direction the Magic go, there's going to be a lot of national exposure, and there's a sense of pride for Magic fans to have what could be the best player in the draft coming to this town. So it's pretty cool. Do you think Philip Rossman Wright is doing a podcast right now? Is he ever not doing a podcast? Philip Rossman Wright, he does a great job. He does a great job.
The Podfather, Dante, the Podfather.
Well said. Exactly right.
I've been trying to get him to change his Twitter handle to that, but he's telling me he can't do it because he'll lose his check mark otherwise.
That's important. You don't want to lose that check mark.
Don't lose that tick.
I don't want to lose. It's amazing what you do to get that thing. My goodness.
Now, we have had a bit of Magic news this week. Pre-season fixtures have been announced. We are playing Memphis on the road on October the 3rd, San Antonio on the road October the 6th, Dallas on the road October the 7th, and then we return home for matchup against Memphis again on October the 11th, and finishing off on October the 14th against Cleveland. So, guys, what do you think of those games and that run of games? Do you think it's it represents a good test for the team? G?
Yeah, absolutely. You've got the Memphis Grizzlies, who are second in the West. So obviously you got home and away against them. The Dallas Mavericks, who just lost out in the Western Conference Finals. So two, very well-run units there. And then even the San Antonio Spurs, they're very well coached with Popovich, and Cleveland, who made the jump, as Dante mentioned earlier. So there's no bottom feeders in there. You're going to be testing yourself pretty early on, giving everybody, time to get match fit. So no, decent opponents there. So hopefully, will you be over there, Paul, for the 14th?
No, mate. We land on the 18th. We will be there opening night. We will be there opening night, my friend.
Watch out, Orlando. Yeah, I love
British invasion, my man. The biggest British invasion since the Beatles.
That's when it starts. Oh, we can't wait. We're going to roll out the red carpet and everything. That's fantastic. You know what? But you guys are right. I tell you what, that's a great schedule. And no matter who those teams play and who sits, and you only got 5 preseason games now. Some teams only have 4. So these guys have to play. You got to get Ja Morant some minutes. You got to see how he looks. Luka, you got to get some games under his belt before the season starts. And, the Cleveland thing is interesting to me, guys, because, they add Evan Mobley, the second overall pick. Can you now with the first overall pick, can you make a Cleveland type jump this year? Can you catch lightning in a bottle? And can we be kind of a team like that's maybe chasing for a play-in game this year?
This is a conversation we've had. What's to say we can't? What is to say we can't, man? What will preseason involve for you, Dante? Will you be out and about on the road with the team, or is
not
it
for the preseason?
Distance?
We typically don't travel for the preseason, but unless they decide to televise a game, so they'll probably choose 2 of those games that they'll televise. My guess would be the last 2, probably the 2 home games, then going into the start of the season. So I would be, I venture a guess that's when but we'll have radio. So David and Jeff most likely will travel to Memphis. We'll travel to Dallas, San Antonio, and do those games on the radio. And then we'll have I would imagine we'll televise at least one, if not both of those home games.
Quality. Now, just want to plug our draft party. We've got a watch party being run here. So if you're not in the Amway Centre, and if you are in the States, why wouldn't you be? Please join us. Please join us for the 2022 NBA draft, Thursday, the 23rd of June. Technically, it's a Friday here. We will again be hosting a live watch party on Zoom to see who the Magic select with the number 1 overall pick. If you'd like to join us, please visit orlandomagicuk.com/events, fill in the sign-up form, and we'll send you the links on the day of the draft. And you can find the description in the links on this podcast. So let's get into it, Dante. I've got to ask you, mate, you've already mentioned that you were in Harry Buffalo's for the watch party. When we landed that number 1 pick, what was the atmosphere like, and how good was it to be there with so many fans?
Oh, it was incredible. First of all, if I wasn't doing a show, we have our own draft show on the radio on that night. If I wasn't doing it, I'd be all over that watch party, by the way. I'd be joining you guys. So that'd be a lot of fun. That's the only reason I won't be a part of that, but maybe we can catch up after. But for Harry Buffalo, I'll go back to last year. Remember, in fact, I talked to you guys on that draft lottery selection night, and it was not that it was a disappointment, but it was like you went through that whole season, you blew up the team, you went down that path to try to get at least, I thought, a top 3 pick, and you just didn't get lucky that night. You ended up with the 5th pick, and we got a great pick in Jalen Suggs, and you got really one of the stars of the draft in Franz Wagner. And Jalen's going to be unbelievable this year, by the way. I think he's got a year under his belt, and he's going to be phenomenal. But you have that. So I was a little hesitant to go back to the same spot where I didn't bring us any luck the year before. You know what I mean? So I was a little nervous to do that, but then I said, you know what? I'm not going to go. Watch me not go, and then we do get the number 1 pick, and then it's a great big party and celebration that I was hoping to have the year before. It was awesome. I told my daughters before I left the house, I said, you just want us to still be on the board when the commercial comes. If we make it to the top 4 and they haven't called our name when they make that break, then that's a huge win. And that's what happened. And then so everybody in the restaurant, about 200 of us, are thinking, this is a win. Already you got a top 4 pick. Yeah. And I think that's what you were hoping for going into this. Let's get greedy. Can we get 3? And then your name wasn't there at 3. And it was a huge ovation. And then when it wasn't there at 2, I mean, it just broke out. I mean, I had grown people asking me if they could hug me, grown-ups, grown men, grown women, asking if we can embrace in this age of COVID and all that stuff. They wanted to make sure it was okay. But it was great. It was a great scene, and I just couldn't help but look around and think, this is Magic fans deserve this to me so much more than, and as much, if not more than any fan base, because it's been so hard the last decade or so. And we have not gotten any luck in the lottery as far as position goes, for the last 5 or 6 years. So now to have that, in fact, wherever we've been projected for the last 5 or 6 years, we've gone one backwards, at least one or two backwards. So we got lucky. We got the big for the 4th time in franchise history. We got that first overall pick, and it was just like, wow, this is awesome. We kind of control the draft, and we're going to get the exact guy that we want.
Yeah, it was definitely fun to watch. I mean, I only just found out yesterday because we had a joke because when we were doing the live stream, my internet is so slow here compared to everyone else. There's like a 10-second lag between everyone else finding out and me. So it's a bit of a running joke, Dante.
You have to go back and watch it, Dante.
That is fantastic.
Everybody else is like this, and Mikey's
still contemplating life. Terrible.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But what do we got to do? What do we got to do to up your internet, Mike? How do we fix this?
Well, I was going to say you could start a GoFundMe account and you can get us over for the draft instead if you want.
Yeah, we can do that. Okay. We'll work on it here.
It's all good. Obviously, winning the lottery is a massive deal for the Magic and the chance to draft a potential cornerstone player. With that, there's more media attention that we've already sort of talked about already. How important is that for the Magic, and how important is that for the players that are already on the roster?
I think it's huge. I think we saw Jabari Smith came in for a workout today, ironically, at the time of this taping of this podcast. And he made the comment after his workout that I've watched the Magic. I enjoy watching their games. I watched them all last year because it's a group of young guys that regardless of how many wins they had or didn't have, every time they took the floor, it looked like they were playing Game 7 of the finals because of the way they played and the passion they played with. So for him to kind of notice that, and even if he made the whole thing up, doesn't matter. He said it. So it doesn't matter. But I think there's truth in that. I think he truly enjoyed and that starts with Coach Mosley. Obviously Jeff and John putting the team together, but Coach Mosley instilling that positivity. And I think we started something. I think we started to build something as far as a culture goes last year. And I think so now you add into all this positivity when you won 23 games and you had all this massive amount of games lost to injury. Now you hope everybody's going to be healthy. And then you add the number 1 pick, and then you add another free agent or two. That vibe continues and it grows and it strengthens. And there's a tremendous energy about this team in that building. Watching Jabari's workout today, I mean, it's just an unbelievable feeling. I think amongst the players that something special is brewing here. And I think now they know we're going to get a great player. We're going to get a great player. I did an event with Mo Wagner yesterday, and he's like, I don't pay much attention to it because, quite honestly, these guys that are coming in are guys that are trying to take my job. So some guys, so not everybody. I don't think everybody on the team probably isn't as excited, but I think, I say that in jest, but I think at the end of the day, they know they're going to get a guy and maybe the guy they need to kind of help them get over the hump. So I think it's huge. And then not only mention that, guys, we were kind of talking a little bit before we started, what that means from a national perspective, right? You got all the number 1 pick now that the media is going to be interested in nationally, locally, big storyline. I've already talked to a number of national media members that are going to be here in Orlando in Amway Center on draft night because that's the big story. So they want to be here for the number 1 pick.
Cool.
I think there's a national relevance that comes with it. And then it's just only going to strengthen our fantastic fan base anyway.
Yeah. Well, obviously, we've had the NBA Combine, and now the Magic are bringing in players for workouts and interviews and things like that. Have you, apart from Jabari, have you had a chance
it's a new Jalen Jugs.
It's a new That's right. That's right.
I thought we swept that one under the carpet.
I didn't realize you knew him that well. You call him whatever you want.
So have you had a chance to speak to any of the other players that the Magic have brought in? And if you have, is there anyone that's impressed you or stood out?
No, I haven't seen any other guys. I'd be interested if I'll be out of town actually next week, but I don't know when Chet or Paulo or any of these other guys are going to come through here, but I won't have a chance to see those. But from what I've heard good things. A lot of times the guys that have come through have kind of been second rounders to this point, guys that they would, because there's 2 picks early in the second round as well.
Yep.
That if you hold on to those 2, you could potentially add 2 very good players, or you could package it to move up, move down, whatever you want to do. But you could potentially add another player or 2 late in the first round or at the start of the second round. So I think that's kind of been the majority. But I think there's a feeling that this is a deep draft, and I think that you're gonna, the teams can go for need, and they can get shooting, they can get the defender that they need, they can get the rim protector. It seems like you can go by the need that you want, or you can just take the best basketball player, which a lot of teams tend to do anyway, and which is what this Magic organization has kind of always tended to do, just the best basketball player all around. So I think there's a lot of depth in this draft, and it may take a couple of years, I think, to kind of fully see it, because I think a lot of these guys are young. A lot of them got to put on size and fill out and all that, but I think there's a feeling that there's going to be a lot of talent coming in this year's draft.
Yeah, that brings us on nicely, Dante, to my question, actually. So there's been a lot of talk that the front office might try for a second lottery pick, given that we've got, a lot of draft capital stored for the forthcoming sort of years, and possibly to scoop Keegan Murray. Have you got any takes on Keegan and what he could deliver? We don't get to see as much college ball over here in the UK. So, if you've got any insight on him, that might be very useful.
Just kind of the little bit that I watched him in college, I didn't get a chance to see him a ton, but apparently a very good shooter as well. Kind of the same thing. And a guy that, can kind of play that slash position. He's a great shot. He's got great size and defensive versatility as well. And, that's a guy that's, wherever he lands, if the Magic are able to trade up and that's a guy that they would target, possibly, then yeah, that could be an interesting addition. But if it's the Magic or whoever ends up with somebody like that, I mean, Keegan Murray is certainly going to help an NBA team. He's got a long NBA career ahead of him. But you mentioned the draft capital, and I think that's an important thing, Geraint, because the Magic are going to have Chicago's pick again next year. They're going to have their first round pick next year. And then 2 years in 2025, you're going to have the first round pick from Denver. And everybody assumes because you've got all these picks, you're going to keep adding players. That may not be the case. You may decide, okay, we'll see where Chicago's pick is next year. Maybe Chicago decides to blow it up. If Zach LaVine leaves in free agency, and they may go down that path, and you may get a great pick and decide to keep it, but you've got draft capital, so you can trade. And with the number 1 pick, that's one thing that Jeff Weltman said is we're going to field a lot of calls. There's a lot of teams that are going to be interested, and would the Magic be interested in moving up, moving down? And there's other player decisions on this roster that you have to make. So could you see potentially some deals made as far as that goes, signing trades or trades, and the Magic could potentially move up or move down on draft night as well. So I think all of that is the job of Jeff Weltman and John Hammond, and they're going to take all these phone calls, and if they feel there's a move to be made that betters the team, they'll do it. And if not, they're very happy, I would say, to stay where they are at number 1. But you're going to hear a lot, guys like Keegan Murray and these guys that are coming in. I think there's a natural affinity for media members to look and say, listen, this Magic team has been 28th and 29th in field goal percentage and 3-point percentage for, the last 4 or 5 years. So anybody that can shoot with any kind of consistency is going to be pegged to come to Orlando, because that fills a need for us. So I think you kind of got to read between all the rumors. It's hard to know what's real and what isn't, but I promise you, especially from watching today, they're doing their due diligence, and everybody that they target and that they watch through these workouts, they have a purpose, a plan, and they'll certainly make the decision they feel is best.
Yeah, good stuff. And what you just said about Weltman and Hammond, everyone, most of the UK guys The job they've done, absolutely exceptional. They haven't missed a beat, really, have they?
No,
did you want to mention? Sorry, Paul.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to jump in on Dante's point about doing the team doing the due diligence, and we're not asking you to get into what you've witnessed today, Dante, with Jabari's workout, but on what you're seeing of the players coming in, are they wanting to impress the team as well? Are they working hard to impress the team?
Oh yeah, well, and I think it's natural because I think whoever would come in that could be the first pick is going to look good, is going to do the best they can to try to impress. You want to be the first pick, no matter what they say. And Jabari said it today. It would mean a lot. He wants to be the first pick in the draft. There's a lot of cachet that comes with that. And to his point, like he said, you look at all the names that have been top overall picks. That's a pretty good list, and he'd love to be considered in that upper echelon. So I think, certainly with that group, you're going to see him play well. But I think just the sheer nature of a chance to audition for an NBA team, I think these guys understand that. Not only coming here, but every team that they audition for, they give it everything they've got. We've had players come in here 15, 20 years ago, and I won't give away a ton of names, but we've had players come in that have had horrible workouts and gone on to be all-stars, multiple all-stars. So it's hard to glean anything, from a workout. We had a player come in and couldn't get through the workout and was thrown up in a trash can. This was about 15 years ago, and he's a borderline Hall of Famer right now. So it's hard to know.
Wow.
You could just be catching them in a gap in their conditioning. You know what I mean? Or you could be. They might have had. Back then. Now these guys can. Jabari's going to work out for the Magic and he's going to work out for OKC, and that's it. It'll probably be the same thing for Chet. And might even be the same thing for Paul. I have no idea how they're going to do it, but anybody that was in the top 5 would work out for 15 teams just because you didn't know somebody could trade up. So it was kind of a grueling workout process. And, it's kind of been streamlined a little bit more now. But, yeah, I think these guys understand it. It's about their brand. You don't want to come in and look bad. And I think everybody, by all accounts, has come in and shown the best that they can show.
White Castle isn't recommended for pre-game or pre-workout food.
No, it isn't. Although it's amazing. I remember when Ron Artest first started coming to Orlando, he would walk down to Wendy's. He would leave.
Really?
You would walk through the parking lot, and he'd go to Wendy's, and he'd just hammer down some burgers and fries, and he'd go out and play an unbelievable basketball game. I never understood that.
Wow.
Amazing. So thank you for your comments on the draft. So after the draft, we've obviously got free agency.
Right.
What free agents would help the Magic the most this offseason, and why? Do you think we go for a veteran, or do we look to land a home run signing?
I would be surprised if you made too much of a splash this year, to be honest with you. I just don't know that. I think you're trying to work in the number 1 pick, right? So there's gonna be minutes that are gonna be needed for him. You still have internal development. I still think you got to see where you are with RJ. Where are you? If you bring Mo back, there's more minutes. I think you got to get a look at Bol if you're able to bring him back, right? What does he look like? If Jonathan Isaac can be healthy for the entire season, what does that look like? So I still think you have another year. What kind of player is Chuma Okeke, Cole Anthony? I still think a lot of these guys and their play has to sort itself out. But that doesn't mean you're going to win 23 games again. I don't think you're looking at a season like that. I think you're trying. These guys will be another year under their belt, and we got to let Suggs play. We got to let Franz build on what he did last year. So I personally would be surprised if you added too many big names to the list this year. And I don't know how many big names are out there that are kind of being rumored to leave their teams anyway. So this might not be a great free, but can you target the right guy? And that's what they've tried to do. Can you find somebody that's maybe flying under the radar? Somebody that you made the trade for Wendell Carter Jr., but is there a guy like that out there that's kind of maybe in his 3rd or 4th year and hasn't worked for the team that drafted him? He wasn't protected, and now he's looking for another option. Could you find a guy like that hasn't played as much, but just needs an opportunity with the new team? To me, I think you're kind of looking more along those lines. Everybody wants the big Zach LaVine and all that stuff. And who knows, maybe they'll be in that conversation and maybe they'll try to make a big splash. But I think you got a lot of guys that need to play, and they're young guys. And I think you need another year of that. Mm-hmm. This time next year, though, I think could be very different. If you save your money and go into a big free agency next year, and now you have the number 1 pick, the 8th pick in Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs, you have all these guys that have now been able to play and develop, you might become a very, very appealing situation. And you could be in the driver's seat this time next year.
Really interesting.
But that being said, if you can get a star, get a star. I'm all for it. And I won't stand in the way. If they feel they can do it, they will absolutely do it.
So, Dante, as we said, come October, we're all headed over. First of all, do we see a moment with Dante starting with you recreating Paul Revere's Midnight Ride, running through the Amray shouting, "The British are coming, the British are coming"? See full wig, hat, going through.
I will, if that's what you want. I'll be happy to do that. We can recreate anything you want. I would be happy to do that. That's awesome. That's a great idea. I can't wait to have you guys here. So let us know let me know what are the exact days that you guys are going to be here. You come on the 18th, Paul. When does everybody get here, and how long are you staying for? Because I want to do something for the moment while you guys are here for sure. I want to do something fun.
It'd be awesome.
Okay.
Well, I'm over for 3 weeks. I've got an awesome vacation. You guys are over for 2. But what we'll do, Dante, is we will send you the dates with. We'll collate the UK fans that are coming over, and we'll work the dates together for everybody.
Yeah.
Well, we will work you guys into the telecast, no question about it. We love to do that every time. Every time we see you guys, we try to work you guys in. That's a lot of fun. We love doing it.
We love the shout-outs. You know that.
How many families are there altogether coming over from the UK? There's got to be about 9 or 10.
I'm going to say
Yeah.
It's just amazing. And I tell you, you guys know this from when we went back over there in 2016, right? I think it was when we were over there. Just how this game has grown, and it's a global game. And to see that you guys are as passionate over there and in the UK as these fans that show up to the arena every night, it's awesome. It's awesome. And then you guys are going to come in and have a great time. And I'm sure our staff will take care of you and accommodate you. And I know we will too. And we're looking forward to having you guys here. But I love the passion that you have, and you don't get to come to the building as often as you like. I think that's awesome. No. And I can't wait to have you guys over.
Well, I will be introducing a new Magic fan. My daughter's boyfriend is coming over with us. And I have to tell you this story. He recently, he decided that he needed some new T-shirts and hoodies and the like, and went into a department store over here, sees a range of NBA stuff that's the Bulls, it's the Nets, it's the Lakers, it's the Knicks, and decides, I can't buy that because it's a Magic house that I'm visiting all the while.
Ooh.
So the boy, he's a keeper as far as I'm concerned.
Keeper, that is important. Because I'll tell you what, if he showed up in a Cavs shirt, that'd be it. He couldn't recover from that.
Hey,
right?
There's no going back. There's no going back.
Oh, that's smart. Okay, he's off to a good start. That can be hairy. That can be hairy when you start bringing in boyfriends and girlfriends and that stuff. That's
wouldn't buy any of it because he knows it's a Magic fandom here.
That's good to hear. I like that.
But what I actually wanted to ask you, Dante, was as the new season begins, what do you think we can realistically expect to see from this team, given the opportunities that we have? I don't know. We don't know quite how things are going to shake out, but
sure.
What do you think? Where do you think we're going?
I truly think that this team will be in contention for the play-in. So the play-in, you have 10 teams essentially now vying for 8 spots for those that are watching that don't really understand how it all works. But 9 and 10 are not in. You kind of got to play your way in. And can you be within, 2 or 3 games of that throughout the entire season? And I think this team can really do that. But you got to stay healthy. That's the big thing. You got to stay healthy. What does Jonathan look like? Is he able to come back at the start of training camp? I think just having Markelle Fultz back in the lineup, I think that adds 8 to 10 wins to this team. I think that does. So that gets you 33-ish, and having the first overall pick has got to add you more, right? I mean, can you be 35, 37, somewhere around there? And that gets you in contention. I think it was about, 43, I think is what you need to make the playoffs. And I don't know if they're ready to make a jump like that. I don't know if they're going to add 20 wins to the season, but I think they're going to be in the mid to high 30s. And I think that's going to put them in contention. Now, as we say that, what if everything clicks? What if they hit the ground running and whoever they take at number one was the missing piece coupled with Markel, and you are able to win 40 games? I mean, I think that could be incredibly exciting for but it just feels like they're still so young, and it'd be hard to put that on them right now. But I do think they're going to make it fun for this fan base, and they're going to be in contention for that play-in. I really think they have a chance to do that.
I've got to ask you, you're the man with the pick on the 23rd. Who are you taking?
Hope you guys broke up there. You guys broke up there. What was that?
Yeah. Who are you taking?
You guys broke up there. What was it? It's hard. I can see. I'm not going to go on record. It's hard to go on record because I love the skill set for both. I think it's very hard. To me, I've always gone into this saying the guy that can shoot the best, the guy that can score the best. So is that Jabari? Is Jabari the best shooter in the draft where he can take this team to the next level? Is that your best scorer? Or do you have a guy that's, and he does everything well, just like Chet? Chet's kind of a unicorn. Yeah. Chet might have the highest upside of anybody potentially. So do you go with the guy that could be a great rim protector, could be a 7-2 point guard, for crying out loud? Think about that. I mean, he could literally do it all. And so that's exciting. Or Paulo, who's ready to walk in right now and help whatever team he's on, right? Instantly just plug him in and he's going to be a great player. So I don't think you can go wrong. And again, I'm assuming it'd be one of those three, but I don't think you can go wrong with either one of those guys. And so now it's like, well, do we go for need or do we go for best available? Who has the most upside? So I don't know. I guess you could say I've probably always leaned towards Jabari, just because I know he's kind of that shooter that we need. Yep. But you don't go by need. You got to get the best player available. He could still be the best player available, right? So it's so hard to say. It's such a difficult decision that these guys have, but they'll do their due diligence and they'll find the right guy. And if it's either one of those three, I don't think you can go wrong. And I think you're going to add exactly what you need to this roster. I really do.
That exactly leads on from what we were saying last week, that the reason this is being debated so much by Magic fans is that there is so little between all three guys, and they are all strong potential, huge potential.
Who do you guys like? Who do you guys favor? Are you all in agreement, or do you feel differently, or who do you guys like?
Changes every hour, Dante.
Yes, I know.
I find myself leaning more and more towards Jabari at this moment in time.
Sure.
I was Chet. I'm leaning towards Jabari a bit more now, but possibly still a little bit Chet.
Whereas I've been Jabari all the way through, but I think the Magic are going to go Chet. So,
well, you can see. You look at the history, right? You look at the history of these guys with Giannis and Jonathan Isaac and Mo Bamba, and trade for Bol, right? I mean, you could see that. You could see Chet being the guy, but Jabari's got a great motor too. He fights hard on both sides of the ball, and both of them make sense, and so does Paulo. I mean, I think, and then there's other guys. If the Magic ended up with 3 or 4. There's other guys that would make sense for this roster as well. So, I mean, it's a great spot to be in, because whoever they ultimately decide on is going to be an unbelievable addition to this roster. And I think that's very exciting. Very exciting.
Yep.
And Dante, we can't let you go without asking you one other thing. The shirt in the background gives it away. Mr. Brady, are you happy he's come back?
Oh, am I thrilled? Oh, my goodness. I thought he was done. I was kind of excited because I went to the playoff game. It would have been the last playoff game that he won. And then he went on and lost the next week. So I guess I could have said I went to his last ever playoff win. So I was kind of excited about that. But, you guys have him. When it's your favorite player, you just don't ever want him to go away. And especially when they're performing at this level. I mean, it's unbelievable what he's able to do at this age and continue to perform. So and the fact that he's right down the road in Tampa and we can go see him from time to time is awesome, but I hope he never quits. I hope he keeps playing, although it's very tempting with that $370 million contract from Fox to go to the broadcast booth. And I think I would take that sooner rather than later. but I love it. I love that he's back. I think it's great for the sport, and I think it's great to get to watch the greatest to ever do it. We still get at least another year of watching him. I think that's awesome.
And you managed to go and watch the Tampa Bay Lightning as well, Dante.
I did.
I noticed.
Big
fan?
I did. Listen, I am a big fan of the Lightning. I'm a big Bruins fan first because I grew up there. But my wife, being from Toronto, is a big Maple Leafs fan. In fact, she's named after a former Maple Leaf, which is amazing.
Really?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't know that.
Yep, she sure is. Lana. Her name is Lana, and she's named after a former Maple Leaf, a Hall of Famer. So Lanny McDonald. Lanny McDonald was her dad's favorite player. If she was a boy, she was going to be Lanny. But anyway, so that's in her blood, DNA, huge Maple Leafs fan and all that. So the great Paul Kennedy, who is unbelievable, knowing where my wife is from, shot us a message and said, do you guys have plans on Mother's Day? Would you like to come see your Leafs against our Bolts? And so we did. So we went over there and saw that, and she was up for doing that. And that was, it was a great night. They scored, Tampa Bay scored 3 goals in the first 2 minutes. So the game was over immediately. My daughters were crying because the horn was so loud. It was just a fantastic overall experience.
Oh, well, I was hoping to take my children. I'm glad you told me that, Dante. I'll have to take some air defenders if we get there in October. It'd be nice to go and watch a regular season game down there. Yeah.
Yo, you have to do that. You have to do it. Now, we went because obviously we're all decked out in the Leafs gear for my wife, but obviously we're huge Lightning fans because in the state right down the road, and it's a great organization, and it's on Bally Sports Florida as well. So we love what they've done. So our daughters were feeling like they were going into hostile territory. And so I think that I said, we're going to come back again as Lightning fans. So I think you'll have a different experience. I think you and your family, when you go in and you embrace all that stuff, I think it'll feel different. But it's a great atmosphere. They have really done something well over there in Tampa. It's a great organization, and they got a chance to win it again, and I hope they do.
Speaking of the girls, mate, where is it you're off to pick them up from?
Basketball camp, Orlando Magic basketball camp, baby. Yeah, they're pretty. They are pretty excited. They've got one more day left, and they love it. My oldest daughter really took to it. Oh, she loves playing basketball, and she comes home, and she won't brag about it, but the other sister said, Sissy played a shooting game against the older kids and knocked them all out. And I said, what?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She can shoot. She can dribble. She's great. She's having a lot of fun. So they love it. It's one of their favorite camps. But yeah, anyone else that's watching, I mean, these Magic basketball camps, and what we've done is we've started an alumni network with the Orlando Magic. So we've gone through, and there's a lot of former players that are living here in Orlando, and we've got one to attend most of these camps for one day during the week. So that's been a lot of fun too. The kids are hearing, firsthand from former NBA players. So that's been great. But they're really well done. The kids learn a lot, and it's a can't miss. I think ages 7 to 17. So if anyone lives in Orlando that's watching this, it's a great camp. Awesome camp.
Superb, my man. We have to let you get off anyway to get the girls, don't we?
I gotta go get them.
So I shall wind you to, man. Don't forget to sign up to our draft watch party if you haven't already done so. Dante, thank you so much for joining us. It's, as always, been an absolute pleasure having you along.
Well, my pleasure. I always love seeing you guys. I'm always happy to jump on with you. And I'm still going to join the event, and I'm going to have you guys on my laptop. Right. And then I'm going to we'll have our broadcast on draft night, and I'll have your broadcast. And then 45 minutes later, we can see Mikey's reaction to that'll be a perfect evening. Perfect evening.
That is really
on
good.
that note, we have to finish and say thank you everyone for listening and watching. Until next time, from Mikey, Geraint, Dante, and myself, go Magic.